Ireland versus Dagestan 2. It's going down in just a few weeks. Paul Hughes will be taking on Usman Nurmagomedov at the next Bellator event. Yeah, that's funny to hear considering Bellator, PFL, I don't know, are they going out of business right now? That's the real question going on. But nonetheless, they're allegedly putting on an event in Dubai for the Bellator lightweight title. Usman Nurmagomedov is the champion, has been the champion now for quite some time. Despite talking about moving to the UFC, he's going to have at least one more title defense under the Bellator banner. It's going to be against Paul Hughes, who just came off of that huge victory over AJ McKee just a couple of months ago to round out his 2024. Paul, the big news, the fresh news, the new news, Hughes is on the scene now, and he is going back and forth with Khabib right now over social media. Khabib came out and said some things about Ireland. We know what's going on with Conor McGregor over there right now. He is in a bit of trouble in terms of his personal public persona outgoing in the world. All that outgoing information from Conor McGregor is he right? Is he wrong? We don't know yet, but it's not a good look for him. He's rumored to be boxing Jake Paul, Logan Paul. We don't know what the heck is going to happen with Conor McGregor. Is he going to come back? But Khabib is making shots in the news. He said this: Ireland don't have fighters, brother. How many fighters do you know from Ireland? Paul Hughes and Conor McGregor? That's it. Not to mention Ian Gary, of course, but we know where Ian Gary stands in terms of his relation to the Irish people out there. Anybody in the comments that's Irish, let me know what you guys think about Ian Gary, and we'll discover that for ourselves. The Dagestan level of MMA up here, but Ireland level is not even half that. So what he's saying is Dagestan's up here, Ireland is significantly lower in terms of their MMA skill across the board. Paul Hughes comes out. Of course, he's fighting Khabib's cousin, Usman. They're cousins. Actual familial relations between Khabib and Usman, who is Paul Hughes' next opponent. He said, Conor made you famous. Just wait and see. Now, there's a lot to argue in that statement. Conor did definitely bolster the popularity of Khabib. Khabib was huge in Russia, but was he this big popular character across the rest of MMA and across the world? Not the global level superstar that he is now. He was definitely popular. The hardcore fans knew who he was. He came, he did his business, and he got the fuck out of there. He didn't talk a lot of trash, but he was a funny character. He was always involved, always with DC, always with Kane, always with Islam. All these cast of characters that were around at the time. He was a fun character. He was definitely popular within the MMA world, but he was not the global level superstar that he is now. Thanks to Conor, that's definitely an entire argument to Paul Hughes' aspect of what he's trying to say. He's just shooting back. He's saying, listen, our Irish fighters aren't as popular because we didn't have a guy like Conor McGregor to fight to bolster us. You did. So that's Paul Hughes' side of the argument, which is interesting and in some ways is correct, some ways not so much. But, he's got to shoot back. He can't just let these shots roll off. He's got to be a man, stand up for himself, and that's what he's doing. So I understand it. But Khabib quickly fired back on Twitter. You can say whatever you want, but if we're talking about facts, you can't compare Irish fighters with fighters from Dagestan. We dominate amateur MMA, and it's not even close. Not just compared to Irish fighters, but the whole world. I'm absolutely confident that we were able to organize as a team versus team matchup. Dagestan would defeat a world team in amateur MMA. And when it comes to professional MMA, we have champions, we have contenders, we have ranked fighters in every major league. Show me Irish fighters who are currently title contenders in the top 3 MMA promotions. At best, you might be able to name 1 or 2 fighters. The facts speak for themselves. Paul Hughes, like they say, wants to show Khabib what Irish MMA is all about in this upcoming fight. This is a big-time matchup. There's some heat behind it. Is it slightly manufactured? Yes, of course it is. But they got to drum up some kind of anticipation for the fight, and I completely understand where Paul Hughes is coming from, and I understand where Khabib is coming from. But you also have to admit that these guys are at a different level of athlete. They're training for MMA from birth. Most of the other countries in the world right now are not training in Sambo and submission grappling from birth. Most other countries are big into soccer. In America, we're here big into football, basketball. Basketball is becoming bigger across the world. There's a lot of other sports across the world. In Russia, a lot of these guys are training in wrestling, Sambo, that sort of combat sport already by the time they're 2-3 years old. In America and across the rest of the world, that's just not as prevalent, and that's a fact. And that's why you guys are able to dominate a lot in these regards, in these amateur promotions, in these semi-professional promotions, in the UFC, because you guys have been training since you were 2-3 years old, unlike a lot of the world. So I will push back a little bit on Khabib for that. But let me know what you guys think about this. Ireland versus Dagestan in full effect. Conor McGregor likely sitting this one out due to what's happening in the media with him and his allegations right now. So we'll see how this unfolds in the coming weeks. You guys let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time.